What's up, everybody? I am Kay Marie.
I am Lou.
I'm Mary.
And we are
Murked in the Midwest.
There comes a time in everybody's life where we have a situation where it be your own niggas.
Reach. So, in our story today, we have Yoko Cullen, 89, our victim. We have Daquan Barnes, 21. We have DeMarcus Barnes, 30. And Latasha Cunningham, 39.
At the time of the crime happening. So Yokoi Cullen was born April 23rd, 1926 in Nagoya, Aichi, Japan. She was an active member of her Catholic church, St. Henry in Belleville, Illinois. She also was an avid bingo player. She enjoyed karaoke, sewing, cooking, and having dinner with family and friends and spending time with her grandchildren.
Just out here living her life.
Living life.
Being a good old grandma.
B9 look alive.
Listen, trying to be alive.
Latasha Cunningham, she was born November 9th, 1973, and Daquan was born August 31st, 1992. It wasn't listed on DeMarcus on his birthday. That seemed like it was kind of confidential information in a way. Other than that, it's not a lot of information based on them and where they're from. Like Latasha, they said she's either born from East St. Louis, Illinois, or she's from Belleville. But other than that, it is very unclear. So these are just assumptions until we have more clarity.
Okay. So it's Wednesday. It's May 18th, 2011. May, in Illinois is typically a little bit. You can have
it's like a
nice
sprummer.
Yeah, like a sprummer.
Yeah. It's a sprummer.
We ain't got like full on heat yet. Nice. But you never know in the Midwest.
It could
you
be
never know. It could be.
It could be raining.
So she's out. She probably got up that morning, had her little cup of coffee, read her paper. She's like, it's Wednesday. I'm finna go play me some bingo. Have a good old time. I'm finna win me some money.
Support these grandbabies.
Yes. It's finna be all good. So she hops in a car. She drives to, what was it? It was at the firehouse, wasn't it? Or it was fireman's hall or something like that.
Yes.
So she drives there for Wednesday night bingo, which was a regular thing for her.
She loved it.
She goes in, and she wins a little something.
Little change.
Little chunk of change.
Yes.
And so I know she like, ooh, wait till I tell the grandkids about
it. And in 2011, $100, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was a decent amount of change.
But it is now.
Eggs is $40 now, so
$100 is my gas in a month.
Listen, you can put $20 in the tank and go somewhere.
Right.
Yes. So she leaves out the bingo hall, got her little purse, little winnings in her purse, and she like, I'm finna get in my car and call it a day. I'm tired. I'm ready for bed. It's probably 7:00. This is late for her. She ready to go home, get in the bed.
She in the bed by 9:00.
But then
here comes
haters.
Ooh, girl, haters, hating, doing what they will always do. They look, they see that they feel like they have
an easy target.
An easy target. Just look at this old lady. She came out the bingo hall. She looking too happy.
And like we said, this is her regular routine. Right. She do this every Wednesday.
So they come up to her, and between the information that was given, it says that she was forced into the trunk of her own car, which is wild.
You just put this 80-some-year-old woman.
But before then, they were saying that Latasha saw that the lady was having some car troubles, and she just got over to the side to render aid. So they obviously had to watch this lady from the bingo hall.
They probably
and that's just
to her car too to make
right.
her feel like she was having car trouble.
And that's like a casino. Like, people win a lot of money, and some people, they come out of the casino and they get robbed. when somebody identifies that they had won a lot of money. Um, but in this particular situation, it seems as though she watched her come from the bingo hall into on the side of the road where it was her Mazda, where she rendered aid and was saying that she had flat tires. So in comes Daquan and Demarcus with a tire iron coming to help her seemingly.
So then they force this nice, lovely little grandma
Little
into
church going lady.
to the trunk of her car.
They could have let her sit in the back seat.
No, listen. Put the old lady in the trunk of the car, and then they drive to the Walmart.
Always a Walmart.
I don't know why we were always got to get involved. Just try to do better, Walmart. So anyway,
this could never happen at a Target.
Target would never.
Target would never.
So when they get to the Walmart, they are attempting to use the woman's ATM card. Okay. So they, first of all, you're going to hear some dumb things when it gets to the court case about this whole.
Yes, you are.
It like the whole episode. It's just going to be like, wow. But anyways, they try to use the ATM card with no avail. When they see that they are getting nowhere from attempting to use the card, they continue on and they drive. They took the money from her that she had from her winnings and they continue to drive. They head to, well, actually, it says they take the Interstate 55/70.
Well, Latasha in another vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And she was thinking that because she drove past Yoko and Daquan and Demarcus, that Yoko saw her license plate.
Which makes no sense.
Yes.
This woman was, again,
An
almost
elderly
90.
lady. She's not looking at that shit.
She's not. So anyways, they proceed on, and at this point, they have now they have robbed her. They have basically kidnapped her. They have held her against her will. And to make matters worse, what do? Because they believe that she's able to identify them. They take her to an area in East St. Louis, which is known for dumping stolen vehicles. And they beat this poor woman.
They beat her with the tire irons trying to get the pin for her ATM card.
Which is really sad.
Take a minute to just think about that. And these two men in their 20s and 30s are taking, two men, one woman, whatever, taking the tire iron and are taking turns beating this almost 90-something-year-old woman trying to get the pin to her ATM card.
Of course, with no avail, because we are talking about Tweedledee, Tweedledum, and Dumbass.
Mm-hmm.
They do not get what they are looking for. They then burn the victim.
While she was still alive.
Yes, burn her to death. And that doesn't stop the idiocy. They actually had the gall, the audacity to call the number on her card to try to gain access to this woman's account.
From their own cell phone.
Yes.
They are calling like, hey, yo, I done forgot my pen.
And what Latasha messed up at in the beginning is everybody is starting to use their cell phones. Like nobody thinks about shit can be pinged. Your phone could be subpoenaed. And
voices can be identified.
Literally.
Y'all are calling from the phone.
Y'all calling from the phone.
The call is coming from inside of the house.
Of Yoko.
That records all phone calls.
To try and get Yoko's. Now, Demarcus and Daquan and Latasha, y'all know damn well y'all don't sound like no dang Yoko.
Anyway. So continuing the idiocracy, at the end of this horrific crime, collectively they each gained $130 from their robbery.
What you gonna do with $130?
$130.
Nothing. Like
Nothing.
that's literally fucking nothing. Like they thought this lady really hit a lick. I have never really heard of anybody hitting a big lick in bingo. You know, a couple $100. You know,
I mean, you can
Mhm,
win
you
that.
could
You
do-
can
you,
win
you can win
thousands.
some money, but you know, like
What did y'all really think you were doing? To me, it just doesn't make sense. Make sense. You killed a woman over nothing.
over nothing.
they felt like because they put this lady in the trunk and burned her alive. The second dumbest mistake they made was thinking that you could burn up a car and a body will literally char so bad you can't identify this person. Um Regular heat, that's not how it works. With a regular fire, it takes more intensity to actually destroy a body, hence why people get cremated. They thought they were going to cremate this lady in her car, and it legit made no sense to me how they really thought that they were just gonna get away with this scot free and walk away with their $130 or some odd change.
Y'all spent a good amount of money just on gas, all that driving around y'all was doing.
Oh, that was also part of the crime. They did actually stop and get gas with the money that they stole from this woman. So that was part of their crime.
Goodbye.
So on Friday, May 20th, 2011, her family, Yoko's family, had reported her missing because she didn't come home. Everybody was concerned and looking for her. So we are under the impression that somebody just reported to the police, like, hey, it was a burned out car over on this particular
Area.
street in this area. So somebody reported it, the police got involved, and then, you know, quite naturally, when a burned up car is out somewhere, they tow it to a local junkyard. So it was later discovered after the East St. Louis Police Department requested the major case squad to help investigate. They had went over to the location of where the car was located, and once the trunk was opened, they discovered her burned out body there.
Okay. That was just horrible.
Like
That is awful.
Like, one, first of all, it is very concerning. Like, a 85-year-old woman to go missing like for that long. I know it's probably 24 hours for to file a missing police report.
It is.
And it's just it's kind of concerning, like it has to be that way for like a elderly woman. And
Right.
it makes
Because
you
her family knows she has a consistent
like
history. Like, this
habit.
is what her habits are. This is what she does. They know what her habits are. They know she's not going to run off and, go with a love interest somewhere or just abandon her family. She hasn't done it in the 85. And the reason why we're going back and forth on the age, because there were different things reported for her age. But she's not going to be just running off from her family. She's lived a consistent life. But it is just wild that, your loved one is missing and out from their normal routine, and then you have to wait that time to report it. Now, they did find it relatively quickly because it was only like 2 to 3 days,
Yeah,
right?
about 2-3 days, give or take. I'd say it was almost like 2.5 because of like the time frame. But it's just kind of like one of those things, especially somebody that elderly. Like when you out by yourself like that, I get it. Elderly people feel like, hey, I've been doing this thing on my own for the longest. I don't need nobody. Miss Yoko probably was independent.
Yes.
So it's just like, it's really sad that
She was preyed upon. She was preyed upon by just people with horrible intentions and also morons. They
And
were just
even if it wasn't her, they would have did it to somebody else.
Yep.
Not saying that it's right no matter the person, but you went out and you were just looking
For somebody to rob.
like you was gonna get rid. That's temporary money, like that's no big money. And I feel like this all this time you spent doing this, plotting on this lady, driving around, driving from here from a gas station to a Walmart to this street to that street
To the gas station too, because he has to go to the gas station to get the gas to burn up.
right, all up in different cars. But you could have filled out a job application. You could have easily did something else, but
and it also does speak to their intent. They had the intent to murder her, because why would you go purchase the gas to burn her if you didn't have the intent to murder her?
And the the main thing that I've noticed about Latasha, even though it's minimal, like I think she has something against elderly women because she only preys on elderly women.
Yes.
And it was brought up that she had a previous history of robbing and attacking an elderly woman, but the lady actually survived. So when Latasha and the elderly lady was in the car, she tried to snatch her purse from her, but she ended up shooting a lady in the chest. So how did she get out of that is unbeknownst to me. It's sad how that should have been attempted murder right there. You could have easily took her ass off the street and just been done with her and put her ass in jail. But now another person actually had to lose their life for you to actually be behind bars. So we are getting into how they got caught up. So of course, it was reported, there was a burning vehicle located on a street to the police department. And after they were giving descriptions of what they saw around like the vehicle, who was there.
So identifying the car that was also there besides Yoko's car.
Yes.
Okay.
So it says like a vehicle and suspect descriptions were distributed to the police. And funny enough, the officer spotted the 2006 white Dodge Charger near Latasha's house. So again, you are being dumb because you're not thinking about what you're doing and how things are linked back to you.
Right. People seeing you. People identifying, oh, this car was up by where the car that was on fire was at.
Mm-hmm. And with the detectives getting all that information, they were actually able to arrest them. And it was clearly seen that the crime that committed, it was not planned. So it was just kind of like, hey, let me scope out, easy targets. Let me see who I can actually get some money out of easily.
Right. So with them doing this, with them finding them, they get the defendants, they get them all, they round them up. And during this arrest, they all were given their Miranda rights, their opportunity to remain quiet. In that time, Latasha, because she wasn't clearly using her sense,
None.
she was given the opportunity to remain silent, but she continued to interact with the detectives during this interview and investigation. She will later on try to use this as an attempt to appeal, but it didn't work. But anyways, during this time of her being interviewed by the detectives, she does proceed to say that they, giving this account that they were attempting to help this woman because they thought that she was having car problems, and then more of the story started to come out. Um, with that, they do go to court, but there was no actual preliminary hearing because of the statements that were given. And with that, which would have been like their preliminary, within that preliminary hearing where they would have each testified, um, because of the statements that were given that were basically like acknowledging that they committed the crime, they went on to their actual trial. Now, DeMarcus did plead guilty to the crime.
He did.
But I'm sorry, Daquan did plead guilty to the crime. DeMarcus was the one who was actually found unable to unfit for trial.
And in the state of Illinois, all laws are different between states. So in the state of Illinois, you can actually plead insanity. All three of them, when they were arrested, their bond was set at $3 million, and of course, nobody posted bail.
Right, y'all just sit right on in there, enjoy your time.
have fun because it's gonna be a little minute before you see a judge.
Right, your 3 squares.
Right, 3 hots in a cut. All right, so here is where we get to the it be your own niggas. Honestly, you cannot trust a lot of people in your circle. I don't know what made them so trusting of each other to even carry out this crime. The only connection that you made was that one of the girlfriends.
So the connection that we found, of course, was that Daquan and Demarcus were actually related, but Marcus's girlfriend was Latasha's niece.
Damn.
Right.
So it be your own niggas plus one.
Right, plus one.
So during their like interrogation, they were asking them questions like, oh, what did you have to do with this? Who do you know? Was there another accomplice a part of this? And literally I guess they folded under pressure.
And the niece did fold under pressure too. Because she did inform the police that she overheard them talking about ATM cards and not having working pens.
Yes. On top of, you have a bank calling a Asian woman, but this phone number is being pinged back to you as your phone number, a black man. So we did not use common sense in this. But during the interrogation, they just folded. They was like, hey, Latasha was the one who told us to do this. It was Latasha. And it's just like, damn, like, you just snitched. But Latasha was really the ringleader. So when Latasha got interrogated, she was saying like she didn't have nothing to do with it. She didn't have any involvement. They like coerced me into this. Like, this lady was saying anything. And it was during the second interrogation where they actually like folded.
Start snitching, just like
They
Tasha,
just
Tasha,
started
Tasha,
snitching.
Tasha. Just telling her everything. And then they're like, trying to use tactics to get out of actually being interviewed by like asking to go to the restroom. Acting as though
you.
right, acting as though after you pee, you don't have to answer more questions. Just really not that bright and really not using the actual laws that are in place to protect you as a suspect. Like, y'all could have just been quiet.
And literally,
There was a lot of evidence, physical evidence, because again, they didn't do too much or they didn't do good planning into their crime. There were latent fingerprints that were left on the tire iron. There was video of them everywhere. From the Walmart parking lot when they pulled over to receive money from another person who was not identified in the court documents, from going to the BP gas station to get gas. They see one of them walking on the side of the gas station or the gas pump to pump the gas. They have so much evidence that puts them and cobbles them together to this crime that it's like you can't even say, even in Latasha's appeal, where she tried to say that her admissions of guilt should be suppressed because they didn't adhere to Miranda and stop talking to her, there's still so much evidence that shows the involvement. It doesn't even matter. Like, they just did not think this through. They just were out for money and they literally all together got $390.
and the main thing that the police was gonna do, especially when they got the phones, is call back the numbers of who is blowing up your phone.
Right.
And it had me thinking, like, did you switch your phone number to this lady account? Like, how did you get in? Like, how were they calling your phone?
That's why they didn't get in and why they really didn't get anything. Like, you can switch it, but if you don't have the identifying markers that are required by this institution that deals with money, it doesn't matter how many times you switch that phone number. It don't matter.
And of course, Daquan, when he was interviewed, he said that his statement was truthful. Each time, like, they did not get the pin number out of her, they just kept repeatedly hitting her. So Daquan was very forthcoming in all of this, and it just kind of like threw her and under the bus. So back to the case that she had against her in 1993,
Okay.
where she shot a 61-year-old woman in the chest with the for the $205. She had given her a ride, like I said previously, and she claimed it was a case of mistaken identity.
Girl, please.
Like Latasha literally said, that wasn't me. But the lady, thank God she survived. She was picked out in a lineup twice.
But it again to these antics. One, there was no remorse shown really between any of them. Now in Demarcus's case, he was seen as unfit for trial, so there's clearly some form of mental health issues going on with him that clearly, hopefully, are being addressed. But in the case of Latasha and Daquan, there was zero remorse shown for their actions. Daquan is literally, you can see in the photos, he's smiling in court, just walking around like he's getting a high school picture
The pictures
taken.
made me like real disgusted looking at him because it's just like, and he was so young.
He was 21.
Yeah, and then it was like something brief that I stumbled upon that in when he was 19, he, was involved in another robbery. So it's kind of like he probably knew nothing but crime.
And then in Latasha's case, again, back to this, let me do some antics because hopefully my antics are going to get me out of these problems. She asked for a restroom break during her interview with the police. Like that's going to help and stop what's going on. Like, oh, I go pee, that's over. But also while she was in court, she had fainting and vomiting spells. Like
she was crying and throwing up.
Like, please stop, ma'am.
Sliding down the wall, clenching her chest. She damn near was about to do it for Lil Saint inside of the fucking courtroom. Like,
oh, girl, bye.
And that shows guilt. So, two things. So, if you have ever been in a situation where you have to pick somebody out of a lineup, I can guarantee you it's nothing how you see like on the movies when somebody is standing in behind a glass, like that's the person. Sometimes you're sitting in a room and you're sitting on camera, and I have been in a situation where I had to identify somebody. They put the pictures in front of you.
Okay.
And so it's not like the police is kind of like coercing you to say it's this person. And you go in, you do the same thing. It's like, are you going to be honest and forthcoming? And they say, hey, is this the person? This the person, this the person, this the person. And so you just kind of stare at the person for a little bit. And in that elderly woman, the 61-year-old woman's case, you never forget the person's face who tried to kill you. So if you got picked up out of a lineup twice, and usually the lineups are not in the same day, they usually call you back.
Do they give you like different pictures and stuff like
that?
They
do. They give you different pictures.
Just mess you up a little
bit.
Yeah,
to mess you up, just to make sure that you're not just like pointing somebody out, because it has been situations where people actually get arrested who actually had nothing to do with the case. That's why that happens a lot. And it's sad that it's common, but they give you a handful of pictures of different people. Not necessarily if they already committed a crime or not. It's just a group of random people, but they do have that one person in there that did commit the crime.
Gotcha.
And so the lady, like, hey, is this the person? No, it's not this person. Well, let me get a closer look at this woman. And then, sometimes they will give you like more headshots of a person in a different angle. Like they'll give you like the side profile, the front facing.
Depending upon how you saw them.
Yeah, or they maybe even show her like the ATM pictures, like, hey, this is this lady at the ATM. Does her face look familiar? Okay. Yes. So then they identify, okay, bam, that is Latasha. So thankfully enough that lady was still alive to see stuff like that, to actually identify her, because that helps this case, and clearly it did because she's behind bars
now after she didn't murder and set somebody on fire.
Right. And then the second thing is, if you are a guilty person, you are going to do the absolute most. You are going to cry. you are going to throw yourself on the ground. People fake seizures. People fake.
Look at Suge Knight when he came in there blind on the walker.
Right? So like
I can't see Judge.
and the thing is even backtracking to her when she was getting interrogated, what she was doing in like I have a background in investigations. So when you actually commit a crime, what people try to do is this thing called minimizing. So minimizing, because Latasha technically did not kill her.
Right. But she was involved.
She was involved. So how she got to minimizing was I was not with them when she was beaten and burnt alive.
Yeah, I didn't do that part.
I didn't do that part. But you approached this woman to render aid. And then two, you drove them to BP. Y'all was in the Walmart parking lot trying to get money from somebody else. So this has your hand in it, regardless to if you did or didn't kill this lady yourself.
At no point did you stop. At no point did you use your cell phone to call for help and assistance. You used it to try to get into her account. But you were just going along. You was for the ride. You was down for whatever it took to get that money. So don't try now with the, oh, well, I didn't have much to do with it. That wasn't me.
And that's what they do when people minimize. They try to make it seem like it's not as bad as it really is.
And it was horrible.
So
it was horrible.
You can say, hey, no, I did not kill that woman, but, comma,
baby,
comma, I had some type of involvement with this woman passing away. So that makes me believe that she had like little to no conscience about it. But again, when people are guilty, they are loud. They are putting on a whole performance. She needed a fucking Emmy nomination for the shit she was pulling.
Right.
And usually people who are very truthful, very forthcoming, they kind of like, hey, when it's my turn to get my side of the story, I'm gonna tell my side of the story.
The truth gonna come out.
The truth gonna come out. The evidence is gonna add up. It wasn't me. I had nothing to do with it. Now, everybody's reactions is different, but mostly when people are telling the truth, people like, I really don't have shit to prove because I didn't do shit.
Right.
But you got people who just throw themselves on the floor, like,
right.
You trying to force yourself to throw up. Bitch, you should have forced yourself to throw up when you saw this woman's body on fire.
As she was still alive.
And imagine that somebody is just literally screaming for they like have you ever touched a hot stove before? You ever got burnt by iron or some shit? That shit hurts. So it's like I just feel so bad for this woman, and they probably was just like a kiki, trying to run off with $130.
No, literally between them, each one of them got $130. So a total $390 is what you put the price of this woman's life. Thinking you're gonna get her pen that she never gave because you guys are morons.
And that's the thing. Like, was it fucking worth it?
Not at all.
That $300, $400,
you got away with it for 3 days.
It came and went.
2.5 days.
And I'm actually thoroughly impressed how quick they were. Like,
they were on it. Now, for it to be this location, to be where it was, East St. Louis, which if you're not from the Midwest, you may not know much about. East St. Louis is the furthest point on Illinois' border to Missouri. And it is that area in itself is a very sketch area. They have a high incidence of poverty. They have minimal resources, and honestly commend the police officers and detectives and agents that were involved and even in the community for reporting that type of activity that was happening in their area. The community and the police officers band together to actually catch them and did a fantastic job.
I'm still impressed by that. Like, normally shit does not get solved for years on end. So they were pretty proactive about that. So they literally like was not trying to hit this woman, like all her dramatics. They was like, your team folded on you.
Right. Okay, girl. Just go.
They said, fuck it. They say they threw your name in it. They threw your ass under the bus. They backed up the bus. They rolled back over your ass. And kept going. Like,
and we don't care about your theatrics, ma'am.
And they don't give a shit. Like, you can cry, you can call whoever, you can do, like, your ass.
You did it.
You did it. And you thinking, oh, I don't have any direct involvement. No, they gonna go light on my sentence. Okay. Absolutely not, girl. You just as wrong as them. So each of them got a 60-year sentence and
without parole.
Without the possibility of parole. And Latasha has to serve 100% of her life sentence. Like, it's no half, it's no good behavior, it's no this, no that for her. She has to serve 100% of it. With DeMarcus, he was never on trial again. They say he was mentally unfit to stand trial, but
he is receiving treatment.
With his conviction, he was convicted of the first-degree murder, and he has to serve 80 years in a mental facility.
Or until he's able to go to trial.
They're gonna keep over a course of a few years, they're gonna keep testing his mental fitness. Mm-hmm. What his actual mental disability is unknown.
It's not listed in the court documents. I did read through the entirety of the case, mm-hmm. which is we'll cite in the notes. But there was nothing listed to why they said that he was mentally unfit for trial, which I found interesting because usually they would say something, but there was clearly a background going on with him.
And the thing is imagine how many people that do reside in states where you can plead insanity.
Right. But it's not like they take it lightly. It's not like you can just be like, oh, I'm insane today. So there was something there.
I'm feeling a little sociopathic today. So I'm just going to off somebody and see how far I can get.
Right. Okay. For Latasha, on December 10th, 2013, the trial court sentenced the defendant to a 60-year term of imprisonment followed by a 3-year mandatory supervised release. On January 9th, 2014, the defendant filed a motion to reconsider her sentence, arguing that the court did not consider any mitigating factors such as her remorse and character. Okay. And on April 2nd, 2014, the trial court denied that motion because she was full of shit.
They usually are. So, with her release date not being until May 21st of 2074, she may not even make it out of prison alive.
It's very unlikely. She'll be 100, basically.
And then for Daquan, same thing with him, but a few days later, his release date is 5/23/2074, so he won't get out of prison until he's 83.
Right. And maybe he can go to a bingo hall and get murdered and beat and set on fire. I don't know.
You never know how karma works.
Right.
And then with DeMarcus, it's just looking like he's just gonna be in a mental institution. Again, we don't know the determining factors behind what's his situation he has going on, but he might have to just serve all 80 of them years in a mental facility. Not saying if he gets the imprisoned treatment how regular prisoners would get treated. But
I feel like the mental institution, wouldn't it be some form of imprisonment? Because it's not like, I mean, it's a mental institution, but is it for the criminal?
I don't know. It could be, but at the same time, I feel like a mental institution is like literally like what it is. Like,
so it's just that facility.
I think maybe you're in a room and not in a prison cell. Okay. And because
but you're getting treatment.
You're getting treatment, and maybe certain people cannot be like somebody might have schizophrenia, somebody might have bipolar disorder with another condition, and these two
or dissociative disorders or
yes,
something or
and
anything.
these two start attacking each other,
Okay,
So
they're
I
gonna
think
be
maybe depends on how the facility is set up, how if he's in a cell or if he's not, or if he's behind bars. They might have a different area of the institution where
they
keep them all to keep them separated. Because in a mental institution, you can actually get out,
right,
because you're not technically in jail,
right.
but these people can go back. The people who didn't commit a murder, they can actually go back and resume a quote unquote normal life.
Right, once they get the help they need. Okay.
So this concludes the heartbreaking murder case of Yoko Cullen.
Oh yes, poor Yoko.
Poor lady. Rest in peace, beautiful.
Yeah,
She looks so sweet too.
she really did. In her pictures of her youth, she was beautiful.
Baddie is an understatement.
Yes.
So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to or you can give us case suggestions. We don't mind case suggestions because it's so many murders that happen in the Midwest. So email us at murkthemidwest@gmail.com, exactly how it sounds. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.